Okay, so for the ones who know and I guess don't know that like I used to do, pop culture content on this channel probably like a while back and switched up my content, switched to Disney to content. And guess you could call it a congratulations for that. But I uploaded a video like a while back called, Predator Catches, we need to have a discussion. And it's about what we're about to talk about in this today. Like I named it public like humiliation because you already know how YouTube be like. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not risking my channel getting striked for a goddamn YouTube title, bro. That shit's out. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. But yeah, this is just the old video, and what this new video is, I'm telling y'all today, is that extended on that old video, cause I feel like I didn't go more in depth on what I was saying and stuff like that. Anyways, I'm yapping. That's what I do anyway. But yeah, let's just get to it. I understand why predator catchers do what they do. Their mission on the surface, makes sense and stuff like that, is to protect the vulnerable, especially children. Because when you hear the reasoning, it's kind of hard to argue with. They want to expose someone before that person actually harms a kid. They want to make sure there's a public record and undeniable evidence. And ideally, I guess a deterrent for others thinking about doing the same thing. But, yes, I think I know what I'm about to say when it comes to this. I probably said it in about like 2 videos by now, but I feel like there's a layer that we don't talk about as much. And that's lucky the part I've been thinking about more and more. The dangerous reality that when someone is caught, that video is on the internet forever. It's not like, you're like your average courtroom case where your record could be sealed off after years, or serve your sentence and trying to move on. This is a permanent, like this is permanent. It's on the internet forever. I'm stuttering too much, but if I should say it's Googleable. And it's also searchable on YouTube for everybody to watch it. And once that shit get clipped and meme, and once the internet grabs it, you already know how that shit's gonna go. Or, I guess to better put it, it becomes like its own type of prison. Now, I am not saying what these people do is okay. And I am not saying they deserve grace for the act itself. But the reality is that these videos just don't call out the behavior of it. They brand this person for life. And they turn them into a permanent public villain. It's not just justice anymore, it's humiliation as a form of punishment. In the short term, that humiliation might feel satisfying to watch. It feels like justice, and it feels like someone's actually getting what they deserve. But videos still circulating 10 years later, long after the initial incident. We're not just talking about justice anymore. We're talking about erasing the possibility of someone ever rebuilding their life. And yes, before anyone says it, because I can see the comments, what y'all about to say and stuff like that, about like 20 miles away. I understand that the argument is that, they brought it on themselves and stuff like that, but I feel like that's the part that's easy to agree with when we're just angry. When we're thinking about the harm that they could have caused. But low-key to triumph that, like, we've seen what happens in some of these cases. Like the predator gets caught, realizes their life is over, and ends up taking their own life. From an outside perspective, that's low-key where I pause, because I don't think anyone should die because of their mistakes, even the horrific ones. Suicide isn't the same as accountability. Death doesn't undo the harm that was done or could have been done. It just ends the possibility of change or reform, or even the chance for the person to truly understand the weight of their actions. If you're inside the predator catching community, the mission feels like, I ain't gonna lie, the mission feels clear. You're there to, expose and stuff like that, put out a warning and prevent. You're in the business of catching bad actors before they strike. But from the outside looking in, it's a moral balancing act. Yes, we want safety, and yes, we want justice, but at what point does public humiliation stop becoming justice and, start becoming a form of slow motion execution? Also, another thing to consider is the role that the internet plays in all this. The platforms amplify the humiliation because it's clickable, and the videos rack up millions of views because the outrage sells. The audience gets a rush from, I guess, seeing someone quote unquote get what's coming to them, but we rarely stop to ask what comes after, and we rarely think about what happens when the camera is turned off. And that's where you start to notice a cycle. Someone gets caught, the internet goes wild, and the person becomes a walking, talking piece of content, if I should say. Comments are full of people saying, end yourself and shit like that, and KYS and shit like that, and then if the person actually does take their own life, the internet treats it as a victory, a final, satisfying ending to the story. But hear me out. Is that really just justice, or is that vengeance dressed up as moral righteousness? I'm not saying predators should be able to go walk free without consequences or just condemned. And I'm not saying that we should just go easy on them or some shit like that, but I'm saying we need to think about the method. Because if our version of justice depends on permanent public humiliation, we're locking people into the worst moment for the rest of their existence. We are removing the idea that people can be, punished, rehabilitated, and then released back into society. And yes, some will argue predators can't be rehabilitated, and I get what y'all saying, but that's a whole nother debate. But even then, I don't think pushing someone towards suicide is the kind of justice that we should just be comfortable with. So I guess my whole point here is perspective matters. From one angle, predator catchers are heroes. And from another angle, they're participants in a modern day digital shaming ritual that can have deadly consequences. And if we hold both truths at once, maybe you could start having a real conversation about what justice should look like. Not just for the people who commit crimes, but for the society that reacts to them. Because the way we treat even the worst among us says a lot about who we are. And if all we know how to do is humiliate until someone breaks, then maybe we need to re-examine whether we're actually serving justice or just satisfying our own hunger for a public spectacle.